Welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Talk, Real Life, and Real Live with your host, myself, Damon, the agent, where I come to you each and every Friday at 12 noon to talk to you about the latest real estate topics and any other subject that might be on my mind or that might be real popular and talked about amongst you all. So, as always, let's begin. Today, I'm going to talk about the election market. The election market, what that is? That is basically the impact that the upcoming November election will have and currently is having on the real estate market. Now, many sellers right now are probably wondering why their house is not moving because, according to most recent statistics, 49% of the houses throughout the entire country have been sitting and are sitting on the market at least 60 days. That's a long time. That's 2 months. If you look at it right now, this is 2024 going into 2025. Three, hold on, 2, 3, 4 years ago, you put a house on the market, it wouldn't even last, in many cases, 60 minutes, y'all. And let alone 60 days was unheard of a couple of years ago. But that is the shift in the market. Like I mentioned last week, we're shifting in many areas into a buyer's market. A buyer's market basically means there are more houses than there are buyers. So the buyers have the advantage, they have the leverage. In the seller's market, that means there are more sellers than there are buyers. Supply and demand. So basically, um, it is what it is. And I'm sorry, in the seller's market, there are more buyers than there are actually houses for sale. So I said that incorrectly, please take note. But so right now, the election market, meaning the elections having a very impactful. Many people right now are waiting to see who's going to be in office, whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's Kamala Harris. Depending on who is elected into the office, is going to have a great impact on the real estate market because some people are holding off to buy because one of the presidential candidates had mentioned about giving an incentive as far as trying to adjust prices on housing and also giving a $25,000 incentive to many home buyers. So some people are actually waiting on that while others are not. And at the same time, though, some people right now, like I said, depending on where the house is located or where your house is located, determines on the value, determines on how it's moving or not. Now, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, there are still some hot spots. There are still some great spots where you put a house on the market and the houses are moving still quickly because supply and demand, and it is priced right. But then you have other areas where houses are not moving as quickly, and some of the sellers are wondering why. Sometimes, like I've mentioned in the past, it's either because the houses are overpriced and also doesn't show well, need repairs, updates, or remodeling. So when you need a lot of work to be done to your home and you're priced at the peak, then a lot of times those houses tend not to move as quickly. Now, because this election is coming up and it is less than 2 weeks away, and actually it will be 1 week from this Monday. I'm sorry, from this Tuesday coming up. People want to see, they want to wait. So people are holding off. And because of that, it's very impactful. It determines because some people don't want to make a move too quickly. And they've been like, oh, I could have just waited till afterwards. Even though when the election occurs, guess what, y'all? The president's not going to go in until January 1st. So between now and the end of the year, whether you buy or sell, it is what it is right now. Like I said, it's currently shifting over to a buyer's market, but be mindful. There are houses that are still moving. There are houses that are still priced right. But if you're one of those people who are looking for a great deal, honestly, there are many incentives for buyers. So I would not really hold off until like to see. But at the same time, though, hey, people do what they feel is best for them. But I'm just telling you right now, there's still many great incentives right now. And what you have to take into consideration is when it pertains to programs and incentives, they always start over the beginning of the fiscal year. So it's going to be new things coming. But when it pertains to selling, hey, Houses are still moving, but your house has to be priced right and it has to show well. Otherwise, some buyers are like, well, with the houses, with the supply and demand going on right now, they have many to choose from. Your house doesn't show well, overpriced, and they got all these other houses that are coming on the market. Hey, most people are looking for the best deal for themselves. So just understand that the election is having an impact on the current real estate market and definitely the future. So I just want to just say that to let you know. All right, let me go to my Q&A real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Questions and answers. All right, this is a good question. The first question says, when you pay off a home, does the land become ownership as well? When you pay off a home, does the land become ownership as well? The answer to that is yes, except in DC. In DC, you don't own the land. First of all, DC is a city, it's not a state, and there are many rules and regulation that occurs in DC. So you do not own the land in DC. You do own the land, you know, and that's why when you purchase a home, whether you purchase a home in Maryland, Virginia, or wherever, it's always advisable to get a plat of the property. So you have your property lines and everything that pertains to ownership of that home to the owner. So, yes, you do own the land when you purchase a home, except if you purchase in DC. You do not own the land in DC. All right, another question. Do you have to get a license or certificate for your home in order to rent it out? Do you have to get a license or certificate for your home in order to rent it out? That's another good question. And the answer is yes, you have to register your home. Here's the reason why many states and counties have you to register your home. If you have a tenant in there that has not paid their rent, they're late, and you're trying to evict them, and you take them to tenant landlord court, the first thing that most judges tend to ask for, has your house been registered? If you say no, okay, especially in the state of Maryland, if you say no, they move your case aside. You can have a tenant who's been living in your home for over 2 years, never paid rent, and you take them to landlord tenant court. Guess what? They want to see that certificate to make sure that the homeowner is in that's not in any type of violation and that the homeowner is not a slumlord. So yes, you have to get your home registered if you want to rent it out. And it plays a huge factor when you take your tenant to landlord tenant court because the judges tend to ask for that. You know what I'm saying? Making sure the number registered to your home, making sure that it's been registered. All right, got another good question right here. Can a HOA foreclose on your home for not paying fees? All right, y'all. I'm drinking pineapple juice. Someone asked me last week what was I drinking. I'm drinking pineapple juice. So let me answer this question again. Read it again and then answer it. Can an HOA foreclose on your home for not paying fees? An HOA can slap a lien against your property. So basically, if you're trying to sell your property to ensure that that they get their money, but the mortgage that's on your property is the first lien. So the HOA does not supersede the first lien on your property. But if there is no mortgage owed on your property and you owe HOA, they can take you for foreclosure of your home. So let me explain that again for those in the back. Basically, as long as you have a mortgage on your home, the mortgage has first lien, first dibs, first everything on your home. So a HOA does not supersede the mortgage on your home, but they will and can slap a lien against your property. So if you ever decide to try to sell your home, that they make sure that they get their fees that's owed to them. But if there is no mortgage on your home and you owe a HOA, yes, they can take you for foreclosure. They can file a foreclosure against your property. So that's a Great question. These are great questions, you all. Make sure that you always continue to ask these questions, because even though some people may feel as though that they are not so good, and also feel as though that it's not a good question, it's always a good question, because there are people who deal with situations like this who really want to know the answers. And be honest with you, I like it because sometimes, and the reason why I personally got into my Q&A session was I found myself answering the same question over and over again. And I remember one time in one day, somebody asked me the same question, three different people, three different times. I'm explaining the same thing. So I said, you know what? I'll just put it on video. That way, if anyone needs to know the answer to these questions, they can always go back to my videos. So, fantastic question. Thank you. Thank you. Always keep them coming in. All right. I think I got one time. I think I got one question, one additional question coming in. Okay, this question is, when is the best time to sell my house? When is the best time to sell my house? There's many layers to that question, but I'm just going to say when your house is ready to sell. And also, if you're looking at the best time during the year, the best time is always during the spring and summer. The reason being is the days are longer during the spring and summer, and the many people who tend to get off of work tend to want to look at home sometimes when they get off. People get off of work 5, 6, 7 o'clock. In the spring and summertime, it doesn't get dark until around that time or later. In some cases, it gets dark after 8 p.m. People like to view homes when the sun is out. So that's the best time to sell it. And also, for a seller's perspective, that's when because more people out there interested. And a lot of times people are trying to look at homes before the school season starts in August. So a lot of times they want to be situated. So that's roughly the best time for sellers to sell their home. But understand this. There are people out there who are buying home all year round, because of the fact that life happens to everyone. People go through divorces. People have kids in the fall and winter time. People need more space, So people are going to always buy. People get married, do all types of things. People are going to always buy and sell. So people sometimes start off new. So they'll buy a brand new home and they'll fill it in, during the winter month. And sometimes people don't like to be out there competing with so many other people. So during the spring and summertime, even though it's the best time to sell, you have so many people out there who are looking to buy as well too. So some people don't want to be out there making multiple offers on properties because of the competition. So they'd rather go when there's no competition, which is the fall and winter. So it's always a great time to sell your home, especially when your home is ready to be sold. If you're ready to sell your house, please reach out to me so I can advise you more thoroughly and more properly based off your individual needs. So, again, like I said, these are all great questions. I thoroughly thank you for them and appreciate it. So, I'm going to be right back with my topic of the day. Stay tuned. Take All right, all right, all right. Today's topic of the day is father figure. Now, we all know what a father figure is, and I say that because sometimes people have fathers that are not around, but they may have an uncle who have a father figure. Their mother might have a boyfriend that's a father figure, and But I want to talk about the image of the father figure, the image of the man in a home. Sometimes people take it for granted the presence of a man. The presence of a man is very crucial, especially when you have kids, especially when you have girls, because there are so many predators out here that people are opportunists. Some people out here are opportunists looking for any vulnerable or weak link. I say this to say I read about a situation that kind of bothered me, and it was on Instagram. And it was on TikTok. And it was a situation where there was a young lady. She had two daughters. Her daughters were relatively young, below 15. She met a guy. When she first started dating the guy was like, where are their fathers at? And she was like, oh, their fathers are not in their life and everything. So he started dating the mother. Later on, one day the mother happens to see and notice that the guy is texting his daughter. Okay. Then she pops up one time to come home, and the guy is leaving the place. And he said, "Hey, what are you doing here and stuff?" He was like, "Oh no, I was stopping by to see was you there." That's what the guy said. She asked her daughter, and she was like, "Is anything going on?" Daughter said, "No." Come to find out later on, this guy was molesting her daughter. Okay. And when he was asking in the beginning, where was the father? He was asking because he saw it as an opportunity to come in. And I say that to say that, many times when, situations occur in relationships, and of course, things don't always the best and everything. But there's one thing that I like to say, and I said this to a couple of people this week, and I'll say it again. I'll say a man, especially a father who have kids, and a good man, will sacrifice his happiness for his family. But in many cases, a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness. And the difference with that meaning is there are many men in relationships right now that are not happy. They're there because of their kids. They're there because of the situation or whatever's going on. You got many women out here who are not happy and they're ready to just get rid of the man as long as they can get the financial from the man. But truth and told, they're not thinking about the kid. They say they are, but they're really not, because the image of the man means a lot. Meaning, when people realize it's a man that's at the door, they're not as quickly to try to come through there. Sometimes these kids go to school, they get into it with other kids. Kids try to come to the house, get in fights with them, try to beat them up. 9 times out of 10, man ain't there. But if a man was there, a lot of times they wouldn't even attempt or try that. I say that to say that father figures are very crucial in the world. We've gotten away from it because everybody's happy and content with their life. Because when you give people money, they think money answers all. Money doesn't answer all. When you look at the way a lot of young grown adults are today, a lot of times it's the way it is because they didn't have a father figure growing up. They didn't have anyone to tell them not to do anything. They didn't have anyone to show them how to do anything. A lot of times they learn stuff off of TVs, internets, peers. Don't get me wrong, no matter if a father's there or not, you're going to always have peer pressure and people who are going to have an influence over other people and your children. And, it's life. But to give the advice, to learn, you understand? Learning is things that can never be instilled if the father figure is not around. I say that to say, y'all, think about your children, think about your kids in every situation. Think about how impactful it can be. Because I also read this week there was a situation where there was a man, his brother got killed. So what he ended up doing was, the person who killed his brother, he ended up dating his kid's mother. Okay, he ended up dating his kid's mother. So he got close to her, and then what ended up happening is she was videotaping, FaceTiming him about the kids. On FaceTime, the guy smacked the man's son and then stabbed her to death. Now, it's a cruel world we live in, and you never know who's plotting on who or what's doing what. But what I'm saying to you is the most precious thing a man can ever leave is his kids and his legacy. And a lot of times, his legacy and his kids will never be protected the way that he will protect it. So, what I say is, when it pertains to father figures, let the father figures be men. Let them be around, because the presence alone is so impactful that you don't even realize how valuable a man's presence is. Let me give you another example of how a presence is very valuable. I've seen growing up many people who were tall and big, and nobody tried to do anything to them as far as fighting because they felt like, oh, this is a big dude. You know what I'm saying? Then I saw people who were short, small, that were tougher, that can fight better than the people, the big dude. And I'm not saying all of them, because my brother was 6'5" and over 300 and something pounds, and he wasn't soft by a long shot. But I'm saying I've seen other people who big, soft, couldn't fight, couldn't take a punch. But I saw other people who were short, small, can fight real good and tough as a nail. I say that to say that the presence of those big people, you know what I'm saying, already had other people making assumptions based off their presence, their size. I say this to also say that there are more father figures that are needed in people's life. You got some men who are in the house but not of the house. You understand? And what I mean is they're around, but they're not impactful on their children or the kids around them. You have to say something to these kids because guess what? These kids grow up, they'll stress you out and they'll kill you in some instances. You have to be a more positive father figure for these kids, whether they like it or not, because trust kids ain't gonna like it. I have four grown kids. My oldest is about to turn 30. I have my 26, my 25, my 23, and of course I have a 4 year old. But here's the thing that I'm trying to say. I say stuff to my grown kids and they don't like it. And guess what? I don't care because one day they're going to realize and understand that what I'm saying to them and what I've said to them was for their best interest. And a lot of times when you don't say stuff to your kids, or you're not the father figure, guess what? They're influenced by somebody else. That's why sometimes people go out here and get in gangs and they're in the streets and they run away. And it's not because as parents, you're not always doing the best that you can. But in some cases, you ain't doing nothing. You're not a father figure. So you don't have impact on your kids. You don't try because all we can do is try. Because no matter what type of parent you are, who you are, your kids are going to do what they want to do. But the one thing that you want to do when you leave this earth is not have tried to be a father or a father figure to your kids. Understand your kids, again, are the most precious thing that you have. And there are people out here who feel like they can't get to you, they can get to your kids. But at the same time, though, you have to be a good and try to be a father figure because your father figure presence matters. Your presence alone matters. So the only thing I'm saying is if you can't do nothing else, if you can't talk to your kids, if you're not, be around because you don't understand that just someone seeing you with your kids and everything prevents them from attempting certain things. Because just think about it. Every woman out here has always been hit on many guys. Every woman out here, I don't care if they look like Precious. I don't care if they're the best looking woman in the world. They got the best body, cutest face, longest hair. Every woman has been hit on by a guy, right? You understand? But at the same time, though, when there's a man around, they ain't gonna be hit on. You know why? Just based off the presence alone. And I say that the same as it's the same with kids. When a man's presence isn't around, you don't know who's plotting and who's looking at them or who's trying certain things. Like I said before, this is a cruel world we live in. There's a lot of perverted people in this world, a lot of pedophiles, and all types of stuff go on. Protect your children because again, your kids ain't asked to be here. Your presence alone matter, and being a good father figure or just being a father figure by trying and being there physically makes a world of a difference. So I just wanted to say that. I'll be right back with my closeout. All right, y'all. Y'all, please follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, um, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube. And please follow my channel on YouTube. Um, I'm trying to think. Did I forget anything else? Do. Those are all the social media platforms. I'm on all the social media platforms. Please follow them. Also, check out my website, DamonTheAgent.com. Yesterday, I came across a post where somebody had moved from Vegas to Chantilly, and they was trying to figure out what it was to do around this area. What I explained to them, if they go to my website, if you stroll down to the bottom of my website, you will see DC and all of the surrounding counties. If you click on any of the counties, it's very localized. It will give you all the information of that county, the average sold price of the homes in that county for sale. It would also give you the top schools, top restaurants, top shopping places, the top nightlife in those particular areas. It would give you everything. And if you really want to know where you should move to, if you go to the upper left of my website, it's a button said relocation. If you click on that and you answer the few questions, it's going to direct you in the area what will be the best place for you to move in the area. So check it out, explore it. I'm sure you all will find much value in my website for you all. It is very localized. It's been, designed to help people narrow down the search when they're trying to figure things out. Just like some people be like, oh, where should I go hang out tonight? When I don't want to hang in DC, where you at? Well, I'm over here in, I don't know, Tyson's Corner. Click on there, go down there, you'll see the area, click on it. It'll give you all of the information. All the information. Let's say you want to do Montgomery County, or if you wanted to do DC, it's all there for you. So let me do my quick recap. All right. Today I was talking about the election market. The election has an impact on housing. But whether you're a seller or whether you're a buyer, right now is always the best time to make that move because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So if you want to have a more in-depth conversation and we can do a consultation, please reach out to me also through damontheagent.com. I will be happy to help you narrow down your decision as far as what you want to do. Whether you're buying or selling, I'm here. Everyone knows my slogan: every house I touch turns to sold. And I also just talked about father figure. Listen, y'all, as a man, your presence matter because your presence is a deterrent to other people who may be trying to, look for the weakest link and plot on your kids or plot on anyone. It's a cruel world out here. I just say that being there physically is better than not being there at all. We need more father figures, and this goes for all the kids. Back when I grew up, what I'm saying, people used to watch the whole neighborhood. We don't have that now because people are very particular about their bad kids and they don't want nobody touching or correcting their bad kids. And so people got into the lawsuits and all this other stuff. So we've gotten away from that. But I'm just saying, if you have kids in your life, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're your own kids, be a good father figure to them. They need that more than anything because you see how the world is. You see all the stuff going on with all the carjacking, people cars being broken in and stolen every day. People being robbed. I saw a report down in DC. They said don't wear nothing expensive because people are going around robbing people. Okay, that's nothing new, but at the same time, though, it's gotten to the point where it need to be some consequences for what's going on. But it ain't no consequences, and the consequences that come, what I'm saying? What happens is people lose their kids, then mama's crying and stuff. But guess what? Mama's crying, but father was nowhere around. No father figures. So we need more father figures. And I'm going to leave on that. Again, please follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And subscribe to my YouTube channel where you all can see this again and all the other things that I posted on there. I thank you all for joining me. Check out my website, damontheagent.com. I pray that you all have a great weekend, and I should see you all soon. Hey, y'all, it is what it is. Check me out.